Hi, this is Snaily Snail. The whale and I, we just came back. Well, we didn't just come back, but we came back from checking out different neighborhoods. We're doing a vibe check of different neighborhoods just to see if we would be compatible in certain places because sometimes I just want to walk over to the grocery store and there are no grocery stores in the area. And we've also been tracking some of the home values in different neighborhoods. And so far, it seems like the buyer still has some negotiation power from our 1 week's worth of research, at least. We have seen some home buyers who have been able to negotiate down like $20,000 from the asking price. We still have a lot of time, but I just want to make sure that we have all the information before we go into the home buying process again. So today I thought I would do a more chill video and just talk about things I kind of learned from my econ degree. I took a wide array of econ classes, so I was never focused in one type of econ, and also I don't think my college really allowed for that. Lots of the stuff that I learned in econ isn't really applicable to real life because they're very theory based, so there are so many assumptions. Yeah, I feel like taxes is the big one that they just assume that there are none in econ classes just to make it easier for you. So in my first econ class, which is microeconomics, I learned about signaling, and my favorite question from this class was, do you think that a higher education is signaling, or do you think the student actually receives some sort of skills from college? Let me rephrase the question. Would you rather have a diploma from Harvard? So you graduated high school and then you got your diploma from Harvard, but you didn't actually go to Harvard? Or would you rather have had the skills from Harvard, but no one knows that you went to Harvard? And initially, when I was taking the course, I said I would rather have the skills because I thought that it actually would add some sort of value. But as I'm entering into the workforce, I think my views have changed a bit because I've noticed that with signaling, you are able to show that you are part of a larger network, and maybe this larger network can break down a lot of entry barriers. So you already have your foot in the door when you're going on job interviews. But part of me also thinks that it depends on what you were studying. So for example, computer science, yeah, I have no idea. Especially in the sciences, yes, you develop a lot of skills and knowledge from going to the university. And then if you just had the diploma and just entered the workforce, you probably wouldn't understand a lot of the stuff that you were supposed to learn in the beginning. But when I joined the workforce, they don't really care about a lot of the stuff. So when I first entered the workforce, my job was sort of adjacent to law, and I worked alongside people who could actually practice law. So they passed the bar exam, and I'm just here with my measly undergrad degree. But I felt like some people still weren't able to do the job even though they were technically qualified for it. So yeah, part of me feels like college doesn't really add the skills. It depends on the person. In microeconomics, usually you measure how much happiness an item gives you with something called utiles. And you can't actually measure it, but utiles is supposed to be a unit of happiness. For example, pizza gives me 50 utiles and salad gives me 1 utile. In microeconomics, they teach you to maximize your utiles. So in this case, you would eat all the pizza in the world to try to maximize your utiles. But in reality, it doesn't work like that because there are lots of limitations. And in the case of like pizza versus salad, even though you want to be like super happy, there are diminishing returns. So unfortunately, with each additional slice of pizza, you're just going to feel more and more bloated, and then you're going to want to reconsider. And at some point, that additional slice of pizza isn't going to make you happier. My favorite econ class was game theory. I liked the topic. I didn't like actually studying it. I had my game theory class at 8 a.m. every single Friday morning. It was the only time available, and I swear I was probably half asleep, but I was still answering the questions. But I would be the only person answering the questions, so then the teacher would be super mad, and then the rest of the class is like trying to follow along with me. So one of my favorite questions from the game theory class, it's about beer and quiche. So it's this game where it's like you have to think about the person's reaction. So to set up the problem, there is this one boy and this one bully. So the boy, he either drinks beer in the morning or he has quiche in the morning. And then the bully decides whether or not he wants to fight him or not. And the bully does not want to fight the boy if the bully knows that the boy can fight. So basically, the bully just wants to beat up someone who doesn't have power so that way he feels better about himself. This sounds terrible. Like, who came up with this? In my class, we just called it a two-step problem. And so the boy will drink beer to signal to the bully that he can actually fight. And then you have to calculate the equilibrium, which is the optimal outcome from the scenario. Game theory was fun, but sometimes it was like just really repetitive. But I have read some great papers on dating and game theory, especially with dating on the apps. I read this paper, I think it was like on Yahoo Finance. And this person explained using game theory terms how dating has changed. I'll put it in the description down below so you can read it as well. And then the one last thing that I remember from game theory is playing chicken. So you have two cars driving towards one another in the same lane, and the person who swerves away, that's going to be the chicken. And that's the entire game. I would advise against playing chicken. A less lethal option is to just play it where you're walking towards each other and the person who moves out of the way is the chicken. This sounds terrible, but one thing that I do is that I won't move for people when I'm on the sidewalk. So I will constantly just like walk forward, because I've noticed that, especially in the workplace, that people don't make space for women and they're just like in your space. And I don't really like that. So I just continue walking. But I never bump into anyone actually. I just stop and I wait until someone like moves and then I continue on. And unfortunately in society, I find that women do tend to move out of the way a lot, which to me signals that women are expected to be the person who has to sacrifice most of the time, and I don't really like that. I'll let you know if I run into a CEO and get fired, but for now, this is just all I have. This is what I have kind of learned from Econ. I mean, I do know some statistics and stuff, but we rarely use it, and right now, I think I'm more focused towards like finance and stuff, so I don't really get to use Econ a lot. I think economics is useful, but it depends on how you apply it. Sometimes it's not applicable because you can't see what an actual util is, or it's really hard to measure how much happiness something brings you. But I still think it's really great when you have to make decisions. But I think economics is a great thing to study if you want to be better at decision making and strategizing. Let me know what your answer would be for the diploma question. Would you rather have the Harvard diploma without going to the school, or would you rather have had the Harvard education without the diploma? I would love to hear your responses and what your thoughts are, and I will see you next time. Bye! Micro, macro, econometrics. I can never say econometrics. What would you call that?